one planner, one pen. Is that possible? Not really. But I made a good go at it, I think. 2024 has been really nice, and I feel like I feel very happy that I have kind of found a combo of things I like to see logged in my diary, and I keep a diary, not a journal. For me anyway, I use the one that I use the most, right? And the one that I use the most at any given time is just the one book. In my case, anyhow. And what I find really nice about the Hobonichi Weeks, even though I started back in the day with Hobonichi Techo, the original A6, this is a powerhouse in terms of what you can log and record in your life about it. At least for me anyway. I think it would have been a challenge even more once I start having like a life that has to manage more than one human person. Right now I just have cats. So that's fine. I have 2 books only because as much as I want to go through what I have done, I would like to not go through it while showing the details of my actual life. So this is kind of like I bought the spring version that is on discount now already, of course, because it's already June, almost July. I don't expect to make more quote unquote content. It's just this is for myself to remember, much like the whole book itself. But why do I like the Hobonichi Weeks? I basically started with the Techo. Let's see if I can find one right now. So what I really like about the Hobonichi series is that, of course, the paper is very thin, and the grid design, very small, and I have a small handwriting. I have small handwriting. But what became very clear to me, there was one year I was using this exclusively, and even then I knew I was a one book person. Kudos anyone else who can do multiple books to track their journey for the year, or keep their thoughts in their diaries, their various diaries for the year. But I can't really do that. And while I love the fact that you can have a daily view of things, it wasn't helpful. In the thing about me is that I have clearly ADHD, and also I think the other one as well. I am definitely neurodiverse, and I need an accountability tool, and I need a tracking tool, and it wasn't useful or helpful to me to have such a close daily view. And I was not the kind of brain that could say, oh, well, just redo disregard this. And I didn't have the day free yet at the time. I'm thinking about it for next year to see whether, because I like this form factor. Enter the Hobonichi Weeks. And this has basically been my book for the last few years, although I think this is the year where I'm very proud to say that I have done a really good go at being in one book, and partly because I think by this time, what happened is about a couple of years back. Is it a couple of years back? Like about a year and a half ago. Yeah. I thought that I didn't want to get back on Hobonichi, and I like I'll do another system. I'll go with another notebook version. So anyway, what I really like about this is that it's got enough rigidity by offering me this annual spread, this monthly spread, and what I'm gonna do with it, weekly spread, and then finally this notebooks, this memo pages. And why these are great for me specifically is because I need the flexibility of this kind of planning and diary keeping, simply because I don't actually do well without a thematic organization. I organize in themes, I organize chronologically, or I organize with physical space. So with this one, you can see I'll mock up a setup later with a sample one, but this is how it's used so far. Oh no. And I'll show you the logic. But the reason why I like it, because there's something to this whole book format, is that I get to have the luxury of all of the days set out to me. They're not daily pages, they're weekly. Just enough comprehensive view for me to see what's ahead of me the week I'm in, the week before, the week after, but also like because the dates are all set up, this is for me, when like, I have future events, I can just write it in immediately. And then if I need more, and this is going to be my task page, I'll show how I do it, or you can already see in my sample, but at the back is where I have, because these are numbered, and this is, then I'll set up an index. And then the thing with the index is that I'm not precious about the usage of these pages moving forward. Like, oh, I'm not, as in to say, oh, I'm not setting aside like 5 pages for, say, to track all the books I've read this year or something. This index does it all, right? This is something like that bullet journals thing approach that was popularized. I find the indexing, there's parts of the indexing thing works for me. Journaling itself, just the term doesn't. Okay, wait, I'm not going to get into that hill. I will die on that hill, but let's not get into it. The hill that is, I'm not going to call it a journal, it's a diary. This index will capture everything that I go through, the pages that I use. What I will use, I will try to mock up a sample as I go along, and then hopefully capture in this video or not. So from this point on, I'm just going to redact as needed. All right. Okay, so this is like my index for now. This is the index for the first half of the year. So again, what I like about the Hobonichi Weeks is that because I have like, and the mega version especially, I have so many pages. I have so many pages that I can use. And like every week gives me a chance to kind of like refresh my thinking, and kind of help to sharpen what I really want to capture on a weekly and even daily basis. And let's see, where's the index for the new one? So, I'll explain this a bit later. Oh, you know what? Maybe I can do it now. Okay, so this is going to be the index for moving forward for the second half of the year. The thing about the first half of the year, when I first started and setting this up, I thought what I wanted was that I'll have the page, I'll have a description, and then I'm gonna not color code. I'm gonna track what type is it, like this way, whether it's work or home or checklist or life or something of inspiration. But like, it's so esoteric for me, and at the end, like, I don't really need this necessarily. I'm not gonna plot it on like Excel or whatever. What was the purpose of this was just to give me a quick snapshot. Like, okay, this is what this is all about. And now once I figure out, I read fast anyway, right? Once I can see the keywords, that was it. Like, this should be like work, stickers, quotes, then I don't like, this is esoteric because after this, I'm going to have to subcategorize what falls under life, what falls under checklist, then I don't remember because I have ADHD. For the second half of the year, it's just going to be pages, the top line, which is that snapshot, and the description of what it is. And the pages have a generous space because the whole point of the fact that it's numbered is that I can just keep using the pages chronologically as it needs to be used. And then as it's like within its own theme, like I'm talking about this movie, right? And then I'm gonna, okay, then it's just here. Maybe at one point I'll be like, I should start an index. I do actually, a fresh list of movies. Like a fresh list of movies and visual media I've watched. Anyway, let's just have like a very quick page to list that, and I'll do it. So, this will be, and then like, so this is the date I watched it, what type is it, what title, the notes could be stuff like, for example, this is actually like the Japanese Film Festival online, and like, or whatever streaming or on YouTube or whatever. And this is the page where I'll talk more about it, like, in the original index. Where the heck is it? There's, within this, it's like, oh, I was watching this movie and watching that show and whatever, and it's like all like, I might want for my own self, and I do. Okay, let's just knock up a list, and then I'll have a list. The movie list. Movies are here. Where is it? I got a list. Dun 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 dun. This is a George Habash quote. Movies watched and reviews, right? So I've got like page 31 and pages 105. So this is just a list, like, blah, 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 and then go to page 105. So this is kind of like my own thing, which I call like my own manual hypertext linking. my own page CTP, as it were. So then page 105, and then page 105 is here. And then, so essentially at first, this is what I thought I wanted. So this is what I like about having something like the weeks. Like, I get to, I'm kind of like, not really data driven. These are all the things I want to know, but sometimes like, I get too ambitious, or I get too, not ambitious, I get too lackadaisical, like very, sloppy in like what I do want to know. So based on this, how this list works out, I kind of realized, really, honestly, what I need is just, okay, so for the next list, the next page of the list, because it's basically second page, so I don't have to worry, oh no, I didn't have enough pages here. I just go to the next available page because they're all numbered. So this is blah, 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 blah. For this second page, what I realized, I just want the date. I want the page where I have the review, the type of the media that I was watching, like whether it's a movie, a TV show, or a documentary. I haven't got there yet for this list. Like, I'm like writing it here, like in a bracket. Okay. And then, like notes is just like apparently, where I watched it, although I'm sure, or how I watched it. Like, this is the Japanese Film Festival. So this is the page is basically what I read more, what I have written more about, like a short review. So for example, so far for the current list. So, Hitman I really like. Doom Patrol season 4 made me cry, but I think I hit a very emotional moment in my life. I think it's my hormones, but doesn't matter. It was a great ender, I think. I liked how it was wrapped up. Page 8, which is very depressing considering that it's a 2011 movie and you can still write a movie that hinges on war crimes from a specific country, which is awkward. Anyway, and Evangelion Anime Supremacy, which I watched at that Japanese Film Festival, that was really, really great if you can find a way to do it. So that's how I've been using the memo pages, and that's why the memo pages have been to me extremely useful. And I've been like, one of the things over the years when I was using the original size of the weeks was like, I learned to become very particular and finicky about what goes behind, but this is super generous and I'm very happy about it. So this is going to be just like the movie list as you saw, for the index going forward for the second half. I realized this is what I need. I just need the pages, the description, the top line. I don't need plotting out what types they are. It wasn't useful to me actually. I just need this top line because I need to scan what I'm looking for. Like you saw just now, right? Like what was those plotted, like those plotted points meant nothing for my ease of finding the things I need to find. And then the other thing, because the Mega has a lot of pages, and I do want to do daily, entries, and I have done daily entries in the first couple of months where it was just like free flowing. The free flowingness was too much flexibility for me. What I have discovered is that, number one, in a day, you will see it like in here as well. In a day, I like to divide it into 3 chronological periods: the morning, the afternoon, the evening, right? So same thing here. And then, so while this has the events and dates, and I'll explain why I'm using the post-its, the events and the dates. This one I can go a little bit more in detail. But let's say like that day is like super interesting, God forbid, and I ran out of space. Still, that's okay because that's the whole point about this kind of like pages, right? I'll just say, okay, blah 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 blah. Oh, I need to write more. This is the evening. I'm not gonna touch that. So I'll just say check page 130. So I'll put here page 130. Page 130 then will be whatever I want to blather on about that day specific. Because I do have a lot of thematic stuff. Let's see. And also like really frivolous stuff. Like, sometimes I just want to like set up like shout out to this local handmade watercolors. Maybe I should do a review about that. I really don't know. I do a lot of these random things, and like it's not like on a review to get like, commission. It's just that these are worth talking about. But who cares about what I say? But anyway, she's called Ida Fix. You can find her on Shopee. I love her colors. It's really nice. So using the sample, And then, okay, I don't know. Should I use a sample or should I? Let's just like go through over it like in the last 6 months, right? Let's start with the monthly. So, at first I'm like, okay, the monthly is just an overview of things that's going to happen to me schedule and also like, log once the day is over and I'll put stickers but it became like redundant information. So moving forward, from around May, from halfway through May until I was perfecting quote unquote the how it feels like the formatting. So beginning May, I started tracking weather. Then beginning June, I started tracking. No, at first I would just started tracking expenses, not exactly how much I spent, but what I spent it on. But then I moved to let's just add weather as well because there are days that I don't spend stuff. So now it's gonna combine. The first half is basically the expenses for that day, and the second half divided into two, AM, PM. What's the weather like on AM and PM? And of course, being from this country is just basically rain or shine. But that can be interesting. What I have found over the years is that I just want to do a couple of things. Couple of things, she says. I just want to know the following information. What I did that day, what I meant to do that day, how I spent the time to do that day, and actually what's happening on that day. That is to say, I like to know about the news. I like to know how is my time log. I like to know my tasks, and I like to know my appointments and my meetings. So this is nice, right? And then like this is me like doing my own drawings. So this is combination of my own drawings and my own the stickers and the drawings. Weeks like when I thought, oh, I don't really need the news, or I don't really need the charts, or I feel miserable, right? So it goes back and forth. The question was then how this one takes up this space. This one takes up the news takes up too much of this space. The time log takes up too much of this space. When I do tasks like this, it destroys what I think. It destroys what I think is the visual strength of having a horizontal weekly layout. How do I know? Like, what's happening? Like, so what? I can't see. That's the point. I can't see when I'm supposed to do it, and I can't see later when I'm referring to it. So let's see. Is this a miserable one? Yeah, this is a miserable when I didn't have any news at all. Because, like, I have the best memory, you guys. I have, like, Trump level memory. Then I realized what I need is colors. Colors can embed and information as well. Have I been poisoned by too much conditional formatting on Excel? Perhaps. Like, basically, but here's how I've managed to compress the information I want to see. Here are the tasks. The task can be as it comes, writing it. I will categorize. This is one of my earlier iterations. I will categorize what they are, what they're for, and all that stuff. And then notice how, I realize actually with the weeks, for all of its size, you can fit 3 columns worth of week of like 7 days kind of thing. I'll show you how I do it right now in my current system. And this top line here is the news. It doesn't have to be every news, just news that was important for me. And actually it's great because there are days when I don't actually pay attention to the world. And I should. So it forces me to read the news and like, okay, so that's not important. Like, that's like, I gave myself a thing, like just like the weather log. I gave myself a thing to just notice the world, because if there's something I'm very good at, it's not noticing. So the news goes here, and then I realize incredibly, again, for the size, this actually can fit 24-hour block, like a 24-hour row, and I can just blah blah blah, this is work time, this is my commute time, this is my meeting time, etc., and I have space as it is, because it's not like I have to and then this is like then what I'm like what I'm doing what I'm doing in the evening is usually like watching some kind of media, doing some kind of hobby, right, or chores, and then for work is like I'll usually I've whited out them out so you can't see, but I have meetings obviously or not, then I'll just put a sticker. I love stickers. Who doesn't? I didn't realize this is a day that Israel bans Al Jazeera immediately, but Roadhouse. Great movie. Why is it only on Prime? It deserves rights. Um, Set It Up. Why did I watch that? I watched that because I thought to myself, Glenn Powell has a rom-com out. I can't watch it here in this country because it's not out. I wonder, I swear there's one on Netflix that I was meant to watch. And then I watched this, and then I watched this, and then near to the end, I realized I've watched this. So this stupid movie I've watched twice. So how is my current system right now? I've perfected it. No, I haven't perfected it, but like I've changed it around for this next coming week. But this is the system. This is the layout I'm using currently this week. We're almost there. None of this is completely true. But it's a pretty accurate representation of my typical week when I'm working. So this is like supposedly like this is so what happens is this is when these post-its come in. So not every task gets a post-it, right? It's like, recurring tasks or big tasks that I really have to remember to do. It goes on a post-it. What happens is because when it goes on a post-it, I can put it on the day itself. Basically, I'm making a meeting with myself, right? I'm making an appointment, do that, do this, do that. But it's forgiving because procrastinating, can't remember, things come up. Oh no, I forget. I'm a horrible human being and I ought to die. Okay, after I get over that, I can just move the part about I'll just do buying fish oil the next day, and I like sort it out. And then if I have an empty block, like clearly the afternoon was kind of free-ish from meetings, but of course I was doing stuff. Either I find a thematic sticker or I just find a dumbass sticker of a cat. So this is what I like about the weeks. When I'm using it for the week. Oh, and let me just finish this thought. So when I'm using it for the week, it's like, there are things about I don't like, I want to move around, or maybe next week I have to do a lot of work travel or something, and then, this kind of thing might not be, I don't need this much task stuff, but I still need activity stuff. Okay, so let me just to the thought that I interrupted myself with. So let's imagine I'm a human being that changed their bed sheets like weekly. Okay, fine. I changed my bed sheet already on Thursday, let's say, right? And then no, it was meant to do here, but I just couldn't do it. And I know the next day I can't do it, so I put it in Thursday. Done it on Thursday, great. Now I just put it in next Thursday. Now imagine if a person who's doing it every 3 weeks. So I'll put it here. And then I'll just leave it there because I have to set up. I don't set up too far in advance. At most, it's just a week ahead. And only in the middle of the week I'm in currently, because that's the point. The point is like, it's a review. It's a manual effort to make me to pause, take stock and review. So then I'll do that. So let's say on this week's Wednesday, like, I'm already having ideas or thoughts, and they usually come fast, and hard if that particular spread for the week wasn't really meeting my needs. Or this part is pretty solid. I like my news. I like my time log. I like dividing it up, not into like 2, but actually into 3. It works for me perfectly, right? Oh, that's it. Oh God, I have to change bed sheets. But then I realized, let's say, oh no, this whole week I have training or some equally boring, dumb adult thing. I'll either move it to the weekend or I'll move it next week. But basically the point is it gives me grace. It gives me a lot of flexibility. I'm not pinning myself. No, I'm not pinning myself to a corner or some other mixed up metaphors that I've managed to do today. All the home and self stuff is in squares and all the work stuff is in circles. And when I can see, because then I'll do it like I'll start out, here's all the squares and here are all circles, but let's say this one overflows. I can overflow as long as I code it as a circle or a square. And I'm like, oh, that's right. This is a work thing or like a whatever thing. So that's how it is. I've started tracking cat food because I am incredibly interesting. And where I said I use one pen. So on a daily basis, I love this pen. I got into this pen thanks to the Hobonichi pen itself, actually, which I then have learned is a uni Jetstream pen, a 3-in-1 uni Jetstream pen. And I was like, okay, I ran out of ink, so I was looking for refills, and then I found the 4N1. So it's 4 ink nibs and a pencil. I can now literally, what I used to do is that I have another kind of post-it for appointments, and I'll just like the Midori Freelog one, which I think I've ran out, so I don't have it anymore. And the Midori Freelog is great because it's just right size. I'm going to put it here. but it does get in the way of everything else, but that's fine. But now literally with this 4-in-1 Jetstream uni Jetstream, I can use the pencil and really pencil stuff in, like the events. I pencil them in rather than using a post-it. I did do a post-it for the first 2-3 weeks of the year, but then realized visually it wasn't like distinguishing itself, meaning it got lost in all of the post-its, and that's wrong. So putting it in pencil means I can still erase it should anything happen, but putting it on the paper itself meant that it was immovable, and that's the part that I need to have it fixed in my brain. So what I like about doing this system, so you see, this is the first iteration, and this is a better iteration where I don't color when I to do it. I use the background. Yeah. So the next one is not so rainbow colored, or like, like across the color spectrum. It's gonna be all cool, and it's fine because it the writing for all my to-dos jumps out more. So, and then I've decided to group all the cat stuff over here, and this one I meant to do it every day anyway, so I just started in advance. This is my shopping list should anything were to happen. So what I have realized is now I'm gonna make the 7 days for the task, but also 7 days for the notes. Like, oh, mid-year review process starts. I'm so exciting, I know. And all of that stuff. But let's say when I do discussion, like I'm planning a meeting and stuff like that, I can like note here, note here, note here. You know what I mean? That's the whole point. So for me, is that okay? Want to keep a timesheet? Obviously, a person with such an interesting background clearly works in a job that requires filing a timesheet. So, number one, when I file a timesheet, I cross off this week. I'm like, okay, this week is done. This week is done. Not in this one, of course, because I don't want to curse this. No, it's just I haven't got around to doing it yet. Because I have a quick oh, okay, I've done it. I've done it here. I've done it here. I've done it here. So I know whether I've done it or not. Like even like the AM supplements, I take supplements twice a day. And I can't do the just take supplements and then by the end I need to track twice, right? I don't remember. I won't remember. So that's what happens. Yeah, I put down wash my hair. Because time means nothing to my brain. And that's how it is. But I really like how it is, and I thought I just gonna make a video about it just to show that it's really possible. You really can fit a lot. And what I like about my system here is that, okay, number one, in the end, I couldn't resolve this whole horizontal layout to horizontal layout. So in the first couple of weeks, in the first few weeks of the year, it was very evident I was trying to do this, right? So like, in December, it's a very slow week. So of course I can do that where it runs across. I can have tasks exactly here, notes and all that. It's like very generous, but as work starts up, life starts up, that wasn't possible at all. So let's see. I didn't take any more. That was about it. All right. So, and then it just got more cramped. Then, what's the point? The point isn't just the aesthetics. The point is functionality for me anyway. So I couldn't crack the code as it were, but at least within this horizontal spread, I can be extremely, succinct. It's like it's very packed. I can just put a lot of stuff here, and I can put all of these post-its here. I wonder if I can show. Okay, quick flash. Bye. Okay. And then as the day finishes, I review and say, oh, I haven't done that. I've done that. Oh, wait, I got time to do that. Let's do that, and I do it, and then move on. Like plot my log out my time use. I just like logging my time use. Is also another accountability tool for me, and all of that. And the reason why I just decided to do this video, number one, I won't remember. But number two, I noticed at least what the algorithm has fed me, nobody really goes into what I'm doing specifically because that's not what they are doing. But I do wonder, maybe perhaps there are people out there who would like to really make a functional planner out of the Hobonichi Weeks and finding it like getting this assumption that is kind of not possible. Like, essentially, at the end of it, this is going to be a very boring diary, in the sense that it's not really particularly arty, it's not particularly fun, it's got lots of colors if you're, a fan of colors like me. But I like it because it gives me enough grace because of this whole post-its, and I'm so happy I found these post-its. These are basically something quite new. I don't know. I think it's only like in the last 5-6 years or so got really popular. This is the Daiso version. These are actually highlighter sticky notes. These are basically pet film sticky notes. They're not really meant to be permanent. It's like in lieu of actually highlighting books that you don't own, or you have aesthetic reasons towards permanently highlighting your books. Either way, I support it. These highlighter pet tapes started to become really popular, and I noticed you can use it for that. And of course, they're quite long. Duh, because they're meant for highlighting. You just cut it to size for me anyway. Because these are movable for me. I use it as a movable, like, continuing task. And it solves the problem of having to write it again and again and again, which was when the daily pages would have been murder for me in terms of time usage. And also, like, it does become demotivating for a person who procrastinates to keep writing the same thing again and again. It doesn't really offer me accountability, actually, at the end of the day. In the end, I hate life and I want to kill myself. And who would like that? And basically, you finalize stuff once it's done. And then in between, you put stickers on, or you just color the pages or do something. As you can see, I am not afraid of colors at all. Oh my God. So, and then because I can, like, when I write this and, like, I'm done here, and then when I'm proper done, I can just really cross it out. And I like that. It tells me if I've done it, and it tells me when I've done it. Maybe I'll take time to make a recording of me literally setting up a spread